All right, guys. The Seahawks continued to play coy with their cuts. They went hours after the deadline without announcing everything. In fact, we got very little information for like over 2 hours after the deadline. And then finally, we basically got all the information at once, like less than an hour ago. So we now know who got waived, who got released, who got cut, et cetera, which means we now know what the 53-man roster is. But this video, we're just going to focus in on the guys who got released. So we now know everything presently. That includes guys who are currently injured and not ready to go play football yet. So we have a pretty good idea of what the 53-man roster will look like, but not a complete idea. Remember, a lot of guys got waived across the NFL today, like almost 1,000 guys are now out there. And we might decide that we like somebody out there better than somebody that we currently have. So don't be surprised if pieces still get swapped out. But let's go ahead and just take this video to focus on the guys who are now gone and talk it through for a little bit here. So I got this list from Greg Bell. I saw it from a couple other accounts on X. But as of current, this is the most recent information. So let's take a look at the list here. Sundiata Anderson, not surprising, linebacker. Surprising, linebacker Michael Barrett. Don't really know what he did. We just traded for him, and all he's done is playing one preseason game and a couple practices. So, I mean, I know we weren't gonna want Mike Jackson here anyway, but I don't know if we're gonna try to bring him back or what. But I find it to be a little bit weird that you would let him go right after trading for him. That's a little bit of a head scratcher. Keon Bars, defensive tackle, not surprising. Lance Boykin, cornerback, not surprising. Some of these obviously are guys that I talked about in the first video. Caesar has been gone. We knew that from earlier today. McClendon Curtis, which is going to surprise some people, the offensive lineman, but I kind of expected that he wasn't going to be able to catch on, so he's out. Eskridge is out. Ezeki is out. Devon Garrison is out. He was another tight end that was only here because of an injury to several tight ends that is unlikely to be a long-term factor. So Garrison's out, predictably. Easton Gibbs is out. We knew that. Garrett Greenfield didn't make it. I thought he maybe had a chance, but we'll try to get him on the practice squad. I think he's got a decent chance of the practice squad, by the way. It's not like this was a draft pick or anything like that. Hayden Hatton does not make it, which is going to disappoint some people, but he really didn't do anything in the preseason, and I didn't hear anything about him in camp. So, doesn't seem like he ever really stood much of a chance. So, Hayden Hatton is out. We, of course, knew about George Halani, which still not so sure how I feel about that one. Maybe he makes it to the PS, though. We already knew about DJ James. He's out. Carlton Johnson. He had a good camp. Carlton Johnson was good in camp. Hopefully he gets to the PS, but we didn't have room for him, not surprisingly. Mario Kendricks, we knew that one. DeVere Levelston, we knew that one. Kobe Lewis, running back, very predictable. So we really are going with 3 running backs for the moment. Tyler Mabry, we knew that one. Ilm Manning, the offensive lineman, pretty predictable. Patrick O'Connell, linebacker, we knew that. Ty Okada, safety, we knew that. Raekwon O'Neal is going to surprise some people, I guess, but I didn't think he was going to make the team. I didn't have him on my 53-man roster, although my 53-man roster has quite a few whiffs, if we're being perfectly honest here. I'm surprised by some of these decisions that they made, but Raekwon O'Neal is out. Max Percher, the tackle, is also out, which I don't think should be surprising to anybody. Radigan, we talked about that one a little bit earlier. I think we will try to bring him back on a reduced contract because, I mean, now we don't even have Michael Barrett. So we got to keep one of those two guys, right? Curry Robinson, the running back, is out. Ty Scott, wide receivers, out. Not surprising. Jamie Sheriff, linebackers, out. We knew that. And Cody White is also out. So they dumped that one on us at the last second, which tells us that Derek Young has made the team as wide receiver 6, which some people were a little concerned about him. Some people weren't sure how to feel about him. I know that he didn't do a lot in the last 2 preseason games, but I think there's levels of value with Derek Young that go beyond what we get to see in a preseason game. So, yeah, he's the guy. Easop Winston Jr. is out. We knew that one. We also had a few terminated veteran contracts. These are guys who have been in the league too long to be waived. Marquise Blair, Artie Burns, who a lot of people think we're going to try to bring back in some capacity. But this does indicate that he's not seriously injured, so that's good. If he was injured, they would have listed him as such, probably. Blake Lynch, the linebacker, didn't think we had an opportunity to keep him anyway. And quarterback PJ Walker, he was obviously not going to make the team. Maybe he comes back to the practice squad. So, as expected, waived with an injured designation is Jack Westover, so he might come back to the team as an injured player, but that does indicate that the injury is pretty serious, so he may not be able to practice this year. And then finally, we have our reserved / physically unable to perform list, which is Abe, Lucas, Jarek Reed, and Cam Young. At this point, I pretty much expected Reed and I expected Young, but Lucas is obviously a blow. As Corbin Smith lists here, this means he will miss at least the first 4 games. So these 3 players going to be missing the first month. One guy who is not listed here, though, is Uchenna Nwosu. So that means Uchenna Nwosu, we expect him back within that first month of action. We don't know exactly when. We don't know if he's going to miss like 2 games or 1 game. Point is, we expect him back before game 4. So great news there. Now, if he ends up not making it, that would be a bit of a blow because it means we let go of one player that we didn't need to let go for that first month. But I think that with what we've done, it's sufficient. So with this information, we now have a current 53-man roster. I'm going to make another video a little bit later that runs down the actual 53-man as it stands right now. Keeping in mind that it's fluid, it can change at pretty much any moment based on other waived players. I can pretty much guarantee you there's a couple of players out there that have been waived that the Seahawks covet. But going down the full list of let-go players, Sundiata Anderson, Michael Barrett, Keon Bars, Lance Boykin, Nelson Caesar, McClendon Curtis, D. Eskridge, Michael Ezeki, Devon Garrison, Easton Gibbs, Garrett Greenfield, Hayden Hatton, George Halani, DJ James, Carlton Johnson, Mario Kendricks, Devere Levelston, Kobe Lewis, Tyler Mabry, Ilm Manning, Patrick O'Connell, Ty Okada, Raekwon O'Neal, Max Percher, John Radigan, Kyrie Robinson, Ty Scott, Jamie Sheriff, Cody White, Aesop Winston Jr. Terminated veteran contracts are Marquise Blair, Artie Burns, Blake Lynch, PJ Walker. Waived / injured Jack Westover. And physically unable to perform is Abe Lucas, Jarek Reed, and Cam Young. So, yeah, tough day for these guys, but we'll see a lot of them back on the practice squad. If we can, I'm sure we're going to see Halani back. DJ James is going to be back. I would say that pending injury stuff, Mabry may be back. O'Connell back. Okada back. Radigan might be back. If he's not back on the 53, then he'll be back on the practice squad. Same with a guy like Michael Barrett could be. Cody White, Aesop Winston Jr., Jamie Sheriff. You can build most of the practice squad from guys on this list for sure. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks.